Hello, everyone. Mr. Hintz here. This is your week 14 preview for sixth grade Minnesota studies. Before I get into this week, let me recap last week a little bit. So last week, students were learning about the fur trade workers, so the people who were involved in the fur trade in Minnesota and in North America during the 15, 16, 1700s. And at the end of the week, we were playing a game. It's kind of my version of the Oregon Trail, but we called it the Voyager Trail, as the students embarked on a journey as a Voyager to kind of experience the fur trade in a more interactive way. That game ultimately was also their summative quiz last week. So instead of doing a multiple choice, just kind of normal quiz like we've done before, the students actually played the game. So the playing of the game was the actual quiz. There are a number of students who have not done that yet. That was what was assigned for last Friday. So if the Infinite Campus right now says missing for that summative assessment, students who have not done that really need to get on that because they're behind a little bit now. So please go ahead and check Infinite Campus to see if your student has that completed. If not, they're a little behind and they'll have to find time to do that, as well as what's expected for each day this week. So this week, week 14, we're continuing with our exploration of the fur trade, but we're focusing more on what life was like for the different workers of the fur trade the workers we learned about last week, what life was like throughout the course of the year for them. And in doing so, we'll be reading from the textbook and filling out a Fur Trade Life in the Four Seasons hyperdoc, which is linked in Schoology, that will guide students through the learning process and critical thinking that they will need to do in order to finish the assignment and do the summative next week. So there will be a final Fur Trade summative next week that will be directly related to each thing they do this week. So we're building off of each day, and it's important to make sure that we stay on top of things. So this is just the outlook for the week. So we have a Google Meet theme every day. As you can see, Mondays today. Oh, I forgot to change the dates here. But Monday today is our Google theme meet for color. So it's our Color Rush day. It's definitely orange, as you can tell. So that's why I'm dressed the way I am right now. But we have different themes every day during the week. And the schedule here is what's expected to be done each day. This is also linked on the Schoology page in the weekly Outlook schedule. I'm going to show you just real quick what the document looks like that the students will be working on. So Fur Trade Life in the Four Seasons, the link to the reading is right here. It is instructed to students as to where they can find the different readings. So A Year at the Post, Autumn, that is the section that students have to read to complete this table, and that will be assigned for Monday. So there are some questions that directly come from the text, so we're working on the skill of finding answers in the text. And then they're practicing writing a summary about what each character did during that part of the season. And this will be important because their summative assessment, the students will actually have to create their own story of a worker from the fur trade and what their experiences were like throughout the four seasons. So these summaries are very important because it's direct practice for the summative. And the same will be for Tuesday, which they'll focus on the winter. Same thing. Same thing with the spring on Wednesday. Thursday's going to be a little bit different with section 4 of the summer, right? It does not talk about the specific characters and what they actually did. The textbook kind of generalizes it. But what I'm challenging the students to is to use their imagination and think, okay, John Sayer, he was the trader in the story. So the head of the fur trade in his company. What would he have done in the summer? And in the text, it talks about generally what these roles would have done. But I want the students to kind of think specifically and begin to use their imagination, as they will have to do on the summative. How or what did John Sayer do in the summer? So using what they learned last week on the different roles and using what the text says here, kind of general what people did during the summertime, I want them to come up with a imaginative, fictional, yet historically accurate and specific summary of what these people could have done during the summertime. And again, that's direct practice for next week's summative, because next week's summative, they're going to choose one of the roles that they learned about and create a fictional story of how they would have lived through the summer. So that is a take a look at this week. This whole document will be graded, but I won't grade it till the end of the week so students can have time to be able to complete it and do their best.